Hello and welcome to the Sunday, August 4th, 2019 episode of the Law of Success Mastermind. Today's episode is going the extra mile. And I'm just going to jump in. This week's going to be about going the extra mile. Today we are in Keys to Success, Napoleon Hill's Keys to Success. Tomorrow, part 2 of Keys to Success, go the extra mile. And we will be jumping into Law of Success for 2 days, then Think and Grow Rich for 2 days, and then a final summary on Saturday. So that's how it will work. Chapter 5, Go the Extra Mile. So that means we're in the 5th week right now. It's been fast. Thomas Edison's only partner, the Nordstrom phenomenon, my own journey, the benefits of doing more than paid for, the extra mile formula. Render more and better service than you are paid for, and sooner or later you will receive compound interest from your investment. It is inevitable that every seed of useful service you sow will sprout and reward you with an abundant harvest. Going the extra mile is not the sort of principle that can be put into practice in a few easy steps. Instead, it is a state of mind that you must develop so that it is part of everything you do. There is a subtle but powerful mental attitude connected with it. The stories that follow will demonstrate that attitude, and the stories that follow will demonstrate that attitude and show you the concrete benefits it brings. Remember, your best recommendation is the one you give yourself by rendering superior service in the right mental attitude. Thomas Edison's only partner. Edwin C. Barnes was a man of much determination, but few resources. He was determined to ally himself with the greatest mind of the day, Thomas Edison. His poor appearance made the clerks laugh, especially when he revealed that he had come to be Mr. Edison's partner. Edison had never had a partner, but his perseverance got him an interview with Edison, and that interview got him a job as a handyman. Edison was impressed with Barnes's determination, but that alone was insufficient to convince him to take the extraordinary step of making him a partner. Instead, Barnes spent years cleaning and repairing equipment until one day he heard Edison's sales force laughing over the latest invention, the dictaphone. They said it would never sell. Why replace the secretary with a machine? But Barnes, the handyman, jumped up and cried, "I can sell it." He got the job. For a month, Barnes pounded the New York City pavement on a handyman's salary. At the end of that month, he had sold 7 machines. When he returned to Edison, full of ideas for selling more machines across the country, Edison made him his partner in the dictaphone business, the only partner Edison ever had. What made Barnes so important to Edison? The inventor had thousands of people working for him, but only Barnes was willing to display the faith in Edison's work and to put that faith into action. He didn't demand a fancy expense account and a big salary to do it either. Barnes focused favorable attention on himself by rendering service far beyond a handyman's responsibility. As the only one of Edison's employees to render this service, he was the only one who uncovered such tremendous benefits for himself. The Nordstrom phenomenon. Starting out in a simple shoe store in the 1920s in Seattle, the Nordstrom family has built a chain of department stores famous around the country for service and willingness to bend over backward to please their customers. A garment may be returned anytime if it fails to satisfy, even years after the original purchase. Sales associates will call branches all across the country to find an item in the size and color a customer wants. One woman even sent a Mother's Day card on behalf of a customer who mentioned that she had forgotten to do so. Store executives acknowledge that a policy of such dedication to the customer leaves them open to abuse. People buy clothes to wear once and then return them. Items are special ordered and never picked up. A few folks seem to regard Nordstrom sales associates as their personal gophers. It doesn't matter. By delivering service that is so far above that of any department store in the country, Nordstrom has developed tremendous customer loyalty. In an economic climate that saw giants like Macy's, Bloomingdale's, Marshall Field, Sears, and JCPenney closing stores or laying off employees, Nordstrom continued a slow and steady expansion coast to coast, never opening a new store until it was sure it had assembled a crew of employees dedicated to its own brand of going the extra mile service. My own journey. I accepted Andrew Carnegie's commission to organize and publish the Principles of Success when I was a law student at Georgetown University. Other than reimbursement for some traveling expenses, I got no compensation from Carnegie for my efforts. My dedication to my task placed strains on my life. I had family to support. Many of my relatives ridiculed me for my goal. In spite of this opposition, I worked for 20 years interviewing presidents, inventors, founders of great companies, and famous philanthropists, because these people were often unaware of the principles they employed. They just did it. It took a great deal of time for me to observe them and determine whether the forces I supposed were operating actually were. Instead of making money for myself, I had a job to do for others. Believe me, there were times when between the needling of my relatives and the hardships I endured, it was not easy to maintain a positive mental attitude and persevere. Sometimes in barren hotel rooms, I almost believed my family was right. The thing that kept me going was my conviction that one day I would not only successfully complete my work, but also be proud of myself when it was finished. Sometimes, when the flames of hope dwindled to a flicker, I had to fan them with everything I possessed to keep them from going out. It was my faith in infinite intelligence that tided me over these rough spots and saw me through. Did it pay to go the extra mile for 20 years and endure all those hardships? The answer is obvious. The benefits of doing more than you are paid for. Since going the extra mile can involve hardship, it will help you to be conscious of all the different benefits it will bring. The law of increasing returns. The quantity and quality of the extra service you render will come back to you greatly multiplied. Consider the farmer who plants a crop of wheat. If he harvested only 1 grain of wheat for each grain he planted, he'd be wasting his time. Instead, every successful grain produces a stalk and a sheaf containing many more grains. Of course, a few don't sprout, but whatever problems a farmer may face, getting back many times more wheat grains than he or she planted isn't one of them. And so it is with everything you do in the service you render. If you render service worth $100, chances are you will get back not only that $100, but perhaps 10 times that, provided you have done so with the right mental attitude. If you render extra service unwillingly or resentfully, you will probably get nothing back. It's as if the farmer had sown his wheat on the interstate road instead of the fertile field. And if you render your services only with a sharp eye out for your own benefit, you will get nothing except perhaps a poke in that eye. One rainy afternoon, an elderly lady walked into a Philadelphia department store. Most of the clerks ignored her, but one solicitous young man asked if he could help her. When she replied that she was just waiting for the rain to end, he didn't try to sell her something she didn't want, and he didn't turn his back. Instead, he brought her a chair. When the rain let up, the lady thanked the young man and asked for his card. A few months passed, and the owner of the store received a letter asking that this young man be sent to Scotland to take orders for furnishing an entire castle. The letter writer was the elderly lady for whom the clerk had provided a chair. She also happened to be Andrew Carnegie's mother. By the time the young clerk had his bags packed for Scotland, he was a partner in that department store. This was the result of the law of increasing returns, all because he had shown a little concern and courtesy when no one else would. The law of compensation. The law of compensation ensures that everything you do will bring you some sort of result of the same kind. The benefit from this, you must always render the most service to benefit from this. I apologize. To benefit from this, you must always render the most service you are capable of with the best attitude, and you must do so regardless of your immediate compensation, even if it appears you will receive no immediate compensation. The issue here is not some unlooked for benefit, such as might come from offering a chair to a senior citizen. It is a matter of honesty and earnest effort. Dishonest, lazy people look to get something for less than is required, or even nothing. If you decide to boost your profits by raising your rates and providing less service, it's going to catch up with you. AT&T learned this lesson the hard way. Its rates continued to climb, and it did nothing to offer its customers any new advantages. Along came deregulation. MCI and Sprint, and bang! Customers began switching their long-distance service by the hundreds of thousands. AT&T saw its error quickly, though cut its rates and began offering innovative packages. It still faces heavy competition, but it now knows quite a bit about the law of compensation. In contrast, consider mobile home builder Jim Clayton. His company, Clayton Homes, was already growing rapidly when Hurricane Andrew decimated South Florida. The need for new mobile homes was enormous and fast. Clayton could have followed the examples of many Florida business owners and jacked his prices skyward. Instead, Clayton Homes kept its prices level and jacked its production skyward. The law of compensation meant that the company still made a reasonable profit on its services. It also means that thousands of homebuyers in South Florida have reason to remember Clayton Homes very fondly when it comes to their next purchase. Your day-to-day life may not offer such dramatic examples, but the most concrete one is your paycheck. If you are dissatisfied with its size, remember, until you begin to render more service than you are already being paid for, you are not entitled to any more pay. If you are convinced that you are already doing more work than you are being paid for, ask yourself why the law of compensation doesn't seem to be working. The sad fact is that most people have no definite purpose greater than getting that paycheck. No matter how hard they work, the wheel of fortune turns right past them because they neither expect nor demand more. What are you doing that shows you expect and demand more than you currently get? Tomorrow we will be finishing the chapter and we'll be starting with gaining favorable intention. So I hope you enjoyed this first half of this chapter today, and I appreciate you being here. Go out and go the extra mile.